Hello everyone, 44 smoke count here today. We are looking at the lead loadmaster. Man, she is set up nice today. And the camera on this phone is just spectacular. Anyway, we are filming this with the brand new Galaxy 10e. All the videos before this were filmed with this and they are spectacular. I've been trying to use that thing right there and I've been having issues. But anyway, I'm moving back to my phone. What I've done here during the process is I inadvertently forgot to put a bullet on there. And I ended up with a shell that's primed and ready for loading. And you can't do anything with that shell if you got everything out of deal. So then you got to unload all the stuff. You got to come back. So what I'm going to do is manually put this thing through to the right position to charge it. Now it's in that charging position. So now I'm going to come up and make sure there's no gunpowder in it. And then I'm going to come up and that thing has just been charged. And it's going to rotate around. And she's ready for a shell. And then we're going to seat that thing. And we got another one following in there right behind it. Should have been primed. Now it's going to be charged. Case feeder's working spectacular. I had it set up over here until I messed up and forgot to load the bullets because I was too busy messing with the camera. But this thing is working absolutely great. Right in the bucket. Now it looks like that shell is not fully seated. But I want you to look at the shell, the bullet, the side, the shell. That bullet's got a good 1/4 inch or more down inside there. So it looks like it's not seated, but it is. It's 1.2 overall case length. And here's 2 bullets that I've done. One's been mic'd. And they're absolutely perfect. So I'm not worried about that at all because I already checked that. But this thing is spectacular. The only issue that I'm running into is during the filming process is trying to keep up with loading the shells because I've only got one hand because I'm doing this with my camera. But this thing is spectacular. You know, it is timed. I have already loaded about 250 shells. This should make 250 when I'm done. 300 shells. This should make 300 shells when I'm done. But this thing is just working absolutely spectacular. One thing I want to point out is that while you're operating this piece of equipment, you do need to pay special attention to several things. You need to pay attention that you've always got gunpowder. You need to pay attention that you've always got primers. Because if you start getting gung-ho and getting going crazy with this thing, even though it says that you can do 1,000 shells an hour, that is flying, that is moving. You're going to have a full hopper. You're going to have, in my opinion, I would get several of these if you can. You can purchase those by themselves so that you can just sit there and load those in when your primers are empty. That's the one thing that you got to maintain and keep. Now, if you run out of shells, that's no problem because what happens? If there's no shell in there, you get no charge, you get no priming, no nothing. Nothing takes place. The primer, the shell that's, see right there, it hasn't even, down in here, in this hole, And the shell plate, there's not even a primer in there. And that's because the shell, when it pushes against this, it pushes it back. And then as it advances, it pulls that primer back out on top of the seating tool. And as long as that's not activated, you don't have to worry about it. And even if you do have a primer in there, it sits there and waits for a shell. It can go through several processes and be on the end of that seat tool and stay perfectly where it's at. And if it does fall off, it falls into the bottom and you clean it out through the bottom. Anyway, this thing is just absolutely spectacular. It's doing everything that it's supposed to do. Thought you guys might like to see this. This is going to be an unedited video, uploaded raw. So if I've made any mistakes, please forgive me, guys. But remember, always do your research. When you're loading, make sure you're loading safely. Make sure you know you're not exceeding the cup value of your barrel on your gun. Whatever you're doing, whether it's black powder conversion or modern firearms with all the modern steels made today. Do your research. Make sure that you're safe. You guys have a good time, and I'm happy shooting.